Hello, I'm Jason Dobson, and this is my creative practice number 2. The thing that I chose to focus on for this is thriving. The ability to prosper at home, at work, or in case of a child who's been hospitalized or has health issues, to be able to play again, to enjoy yourself. I chose thriving because it also dovetails with hope, which was my inspiration for my first creative blog. And you must have hope that your life will go back to normal and or be even better after you have experienced whatever your health issue is. The desire to thrive and be better is what makes up a positive mental attitude about your future and is a part of the sense of well-being that is what arts and health strives for. The danger for anyone in a healthcare setting is that if you are not thriving, or you have no sense that you're going to thrive, and you have no sense of hope that you could thrive, then the desire to get better is seriously undermined. Without that force of personal will, the chances of recovery are fairly diminished. Next up is I'm going to do a short presentation of a song that it's not an original composition of mine, but it's one that I've made changes and arrangements for its presentation. And then the third part of the video is going to be an actual performance of that song. This is the song that I've chosen to do some work on, rearrange, and for performance sake. It is called The Marvelous Toy. It is by a man named Tom Paxton. It is something that I became familiar with many years ago through a group called the Clancy Brothers. I heard it recorded by the Clancy Brothers, were an Irish group. It's also something you'll find in the Peter, Paul, and Mary catalog. It's ideal for use in a pediatric situation, but not exclusively so. It's out of the genre of folk music, and it has no offensive lyrics or controversial subject matter, and it can be appropriate for a wide variety of audiences. I also, for the performance video, I chose to perform it on the ukulele because I know sometimes space constraints make it difficult to utilize a guitar in a room, so I figured a ukulele was a smaller size, it was easy to work with. So there are a couple things that I'm going to do as far as changing things around. This term right here, health, I decided that that was maybe not an ideal thing particularly if somebody's in the hospital, seeing how full of health they are, maybe a little, I don't know, maybe inappropriate. So instead of the word health, I would rather use life. Okay. Now we've got 3 different things in here that we can do the patient or other family members' participation in. The first one is this word, zip. You can either do it as it is there, and what I would do first is explain that the song really is better if the patient participates in it, and that first sound is zip, and it can be done just like that. It's not that hard to make, but it just goes zip. Now the second sound, bop. The way I do it, rather than just saying the word bop, is I do this. What I'm doing is my lips are just a little bit moist. I'm pressing them together, then pulling them open. At the same time, I'm breathing out and making a sound. Try and get that sound. It takes a little practice, but it's kind of fun to try and teach them that. Now, the third sound, whir. The way you get that sound, it's a little difficult for some people. If you've got the ability to roll your R's, then it's easy enough to do. But if no one's ever tried doing that or thought about trying to do that, it can be a little more difficult. What I'm doing is I'm taking my tongue, the tip of my tongue, putting it behind my top teeth, and then blowing air past it, holding the tongue just loosely enough so that it will flutter up and down. like that. Now, other thing I would compare it to, for the sake of teaching to a child, is try and make it sound like a kitty when they're purring. So we can see if they could do that. It's not something they have to do. It's something that if they would like to do it, it makes it more fun, but it doesn't have to. So you've got zip for your 3 sounds. Now, you can also do those with body percussion. What I would suggest, just because you want a different sound for each one, the first sound I would do is I'd do a finger snap for zip. Okay? For bop, I would have them clap. And for whir, I would have them stamp their feet, if that's possible. And I understand if somebody's in a hospital bed, stamping their feet may not be that easy. They could also pull their food service tray over in front of them and do finger slaps on that. That would be the kind of thing they could do. Either way, if you can get them to be an active participant in the song instead of just a passive one, it makes it a whole lot more interesting. And you've got at least the chances to do those sounds at least, I think, 3 or 4 times. 2, 3, yep, 4 different times they have a chance to do that. Now, a couple other things that I think I would want to change is that depending upon your audience, are you doing the performance for a little boy or a little girl or whoever? One thing I would think I would do is make a few adjustments to the lyrics here. The years have gone by too quickly, it seems, and I have my own little. Well, what if it's not a boy? I would simply change that to girl. And yesterday I gave to him or her. Did not mean a question mark. My marvelous little toy. Her. Again, we've got an opportunity here for a little change. Her eyes nearly popped right out of her head. The thing is, you got to make sure you are consistent. And she gave. Again, making a change. Now, if you wanted to be gender neutral, the years have gone by too quickly, it seems. And I have my own little child. You could do that. The important thing is try and keep the number of syllables that you're singing the same, so you're not adding notes in or doing anything like that. Her eyes nearly popped right out of her head, and she gave a squeal of glee. Neither one of us knows just what it is, but she loves it just like me, and there's another opportunity. It still goes zip when it moves and when it stops, when it stands still. I never knew just what it was, and I guess I never will. So that's what I would do with that.
When I was just a wee little lad, full of health and joy, my father homeward came one night and gave to me a toy. A wonder to behold it was, with many colors bright. And the moment I laid eyes on it, it became my heart's delight. It went zip when it moved and pop when it stopped, and whir when it stood still. I never knew just what it was, and I guess I never will. The first time that I picked it up, I had a big surprise, 'cause right on the bottom were 2 big buttons that looked like big green eyes. I first pressed one and then the other, and then I twisted its lid. And when I set it down again, here is what it did. It went zip when it moved and pop when it stopped, and whir when it stood still. I never knew just what it was, and I guess I never will. It first marched left and then marched right, and then marched under a chair. And when I looked where it had gone, it wasn't even there. I started to cry, and my daddy laughed, 'cause he knew that I would find. When I turned around, my marvelous toy would be chugging up from behind. And it went zip when it moved, and when it stopped, when it stood still. I never knew just what it was, and I guess I never will. The years have gone by too quickly, it seems. I have my own little boy, and yesterday I gave to him my marvelous little toy. His eyes nearly popped right out of his head, and he gave a squeal of glee. Neither one of us knows just what it is, but he loves it just like me. It still goes zip when it moves, and when it stops, when it stands still.